Well, good morning, my friends. Hope everybody is staying cool because heat wave, heat wave, heat wave. Shoo, it is crazy. First off, I want to say thank you very much to Tessa Reynolds for becoming a new YouTube member. Woo, the show hadn't even started. You guys have been here since 1 o'clock in the morning talking. Thank you, Wimbles, for the super sticker. Ange, what up, girl? Anything for summer. This is all about summer. When we are talking about missing children, all differences go aside. Thank you so much, Pat K. Thank you for all you do, girlfriend. You are the best. All right. So what are we doing to keep cool, my friends? What are we doing? Extra deodorant, getting in the pool, sitting outside with a sprinkler on you, got that air conditioner down to 66. It's a scorcher. It really is. And here I've been complaining, going, when's it even going to get hot? Because all we've got is rain. And now what we have is swamp ass. Well, let's take a second and tell everyone good morning. We have a lot to go through today, my friends. I saw a comment saying in Arizona, all I do is sit inside. Good call. Jen Bug said, send the rain here. She's also an Arizona girl. Tell you what, Rexy said she sits inside and just stares at her pool. It's hot. It's hot. But we have this same conversation every summer. Dang, dang, dang. Well, my goodness, speaking of dang, 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 it is rain, rain, rain. Because Zach Walker just gifted 5 Crime Lines and Lies memberships. All right, we have a really special show today, and I really hope everybody is here for it. Open minds. Remember, this is about summer. This is about summer. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up our special guest. You know him. You love him. Ladies, let's not fall in love with him today, okay? Some of you went off the chain last year, but it's our friend Ernie. Good morning, Ernie, and how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. How are you guys doing? I hope everything's well.
You old stranger. Isn't that what Candace said to you? Get up here, you old stranger.
I believe it is what she said. That's the exact words she said.
Oh, I think I have the clip. I can probably find it. We were talking yesterday. Your volume's kind of low.
Let me fix it here.
Okay. We were talking yesterday, and I said, had you just eaten that spaghetti, Ernie, we may not be here.
Right. Let's see
He's fixing it, everybody. While he's fixing it, I'm going to play an old clip.
But yeah, it's Ernie. Is that Ernie?
Yeah, that's Ernie.
Yeah, that's Ernie.
Okay, come up, Ernie, if you want to.
Yeah, he needs to come up and say hi, the old stranger.
Get up here, Ernie.
Everybody's saying that you ditched me the other day when you come up here, which I know Ernie's in and out all the time. So Ernie don't want to.
Yeah, he ditches everybody.
Yeah,
He does.
Trying to call him for weeks. Freaking won't even answer his phone.
I know. Ernie's just Ernie.
Unless he wants to be mean to me. That'll send me a message. Oh,
But yeah, I mean, he's more than welcome. Don B, if you want to come up here and you got things to say, well, you need to come up here and apologize to Candace. This is your chance to make things right. There's Ernie on.
I'd like to
Hey,
talk
Ernie.
about
Hey,
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing?
pretty good.
Well,
Do you remember me, Ernie?
I do remember you.
Okay.
We got
his-
Candace lips up here.
Okay.
hey, stranger.
How you doing?
I'm
She's
doing
doing
all
great.
right. How you doing?
Oh my
She's
God,
doing
is that
great.
Candace?
She's doing great. She's
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
great.
Well, Candace, you looking pretty good today.
I'm
Every
trying
day.
my best.
Her
That's
hair's
good.
all long and stuff.
She's doing good, Ernie. She's doing real
Looks
good.
like straight and dried up and got your
yeah.
headphones set on. Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Living
good.
the good life.
I
Well,
love
that's
you,
good.
Jinky.
That's her new
Big-
nickname, Can.
Can.
10-10.
What's
That's
today's
what we call
conversation
Ben
about,
here,
y'all?
10. We call. We don't
Don
call
B's
it 10.
making
Don B and his bull crap.
he's making T-shirts with Summer's name on it and selling it. This right here.
I'm somewhere way on the listen. Wow.
Yeah.
Why would he
Ken-
do that? He ain't got no reason to be doing that.
Well,
And
right.
his
And,
business to be doing that.
and he's the
Mm-mm.
one that's been stalking.
You there, Ernie?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, you got the app on in the background. I think that's the problem. That's okay.
Yeah, that's what it was. Is it loud now? Is it better?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, good deal. Good deal. Awesome. I turn it up.
Yeah, that had to have been really embarrassing, when Candace turned on her camera and did the lean back and said, "Come on, you old stranger."
When she was sitting there smiling, I knew then. I was like, "That's a piece right there."
I laughed my ass off for days about that. Still do when you said, "Whoa, you all straightened out and you got a headset on."
I never will forget that. That was wild. That was wild. I never knew it was going to lead into what it led into. I didn't know exactly what was going on with it. Up on that panel. And to be honest with you, now that I look back at it, it was just that panel really went nowhere. But I'm glad that I was a part of that panel because it actually led into what could have been. Let's just say that. That kind of put me out there in touch with Candace, and I think that was one of the first times that I actually saw Candace. Here and there. I mean, there might have been a time or two before that when she actually took notice of me, but other than that, yeah.
Okay, some people are still saying they can't hear you. I can hear you fine. Is anyone having a problem hearing Ernie?
I mean,
Really not much more you can do. All right, let's start with this. Chris McDonough put this out, I think, yesterday, day before maybe. Now, this is Don's words. No one's putting words in his mouth. And it coincides with what he said to you on a phone conversation.
The bottom of your driveway when you pulled up, like a cop car or anybody, you just pulled right up.
There's nobody there. I was the first one there. Yeah. Yep.
And your first impression.
Okay, I'm already having to pause it because we've also heard Don saying that when he got there was all the neighbors were out looking for Summer and the police.
He's already contradicted himself. Already. I mean, Don's good at that. He contradicts himself on everything. But Chris is very smart with this. I'll watch this, but continue on. And this is very, very smart.
Where you should search first.
So that's why I drove down to the bottom because I didn't even go to the house. I went straight by that shed on the bottom.
Yeah, is that the one where off the bottom of your property to the
Yes. I was on the dirt road. I went past that. I went straight down that hill, straight to the creek, and that's when I seen my boys. And then I seen my neighbor Don walking to the left side, and the boys were on the other side of the hill. And I knew, like I say, my heart just sank right there. I just knew she was gone.
What brought you to that place first and not to the house?
Well, I figured they was looking all over the house, but And I was thinking, well, they probably ain't been out buying property yet or anything, so that's what made me drive down there first.
Okay.
No,
And then did you go into that shed?
no.
Yours too, by the way, real fast.
Yeah, that's ours. I did. I don't know if I checked it then or later, but I know I did go in there and look. But I'm not sure if it was right then.
You're in the hot seat, so I'm going to ask you first. Do you find it odd that Don was an hour away, but supposedly beat the police there and checked the shed? He says the first thing he did was check the shed. Then Chris asked, "Did you go in there?" And he goes, "No."
Exactly.
Well, how can you check it and not go in it?
Right. Like, I mean, what do you do? A perimeter check or whatever? But the big thing about it is the questions that Chris is asking Don here, like where, who, what, when, where, how. That is a true investigator. That right there comes from a true investigator. Like he's making Don, he's giving Don these open-ended questions. Don has to respond, and it's a fast response, and that's what he wants. He don't want him to have time to think or whatever. But when he's saying, "I checked the shed, but I didn't go," then he's asking, "Did you go in there?" You know, he's like, "No." How do you like you said? How do you check something without actually investigating and going in to look around?
Exactly. In all your conversations with Don and Candace, have you ever noticed that besides how filthy they can be, have you ever noticed that they kind of tell on themselves?
It's the way the questions are asked. I use open-ended questions. It's like the biggest reveal that I remember is the shower. Dawn taking showers with Summer. That with Candace. You remember that, right? The way I asked that question, and I had her on a catch. I caught her. I hooked her on a hook, and then she couldn't get out of it because that question had to be answered because it's the way I asked the question in general. I didn't say just da 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 da. I just kind of like threw it out there. What? Who? What? When? Where? How? What about Dawn taking showers with Summer? What do you think about it? No, and then she was caught. Then she was like, and then I said, what are you going to do if you find out that did happen? And then, of course, remember I played that clip, and then she was on hook, and she was like, but the thing about it is, on that same clip, it also refers to her knowing about it. Remember in the background?
Yep.
So, there you go.
Because when you were talking to her and she goes, she basically said, if that's true, she's going to F and kill him. And all these people in your chat were saying, no, we heard it. And I think it was on Molly Golightly's channel. And he did talk about showering with all the kids. Then we heard the conversation that True had with I'm That Bitch Mama Bear, where she said that she was at the house. Dawn took Summer's clothing off and took her to bed. And all he had on was boxers. And Candace said, you can't go in there because Dawn sleeps naked. And I thought, okay, that's a lot of information. Well, then we fast forward to Springdale, Arkansas, when the police show up because they had children supposedly had children in their hotel room. And the first thing she said was, well, I have to wake Dawn up because he sleeps naked. That girl has a question for you. Thank you for the super sticker. Can Ern explain the cell phone tossed in a pond? What pond? Where? I never understood that. We have a lot of questions about that. That was a crazy night.
I remember when I never will forget that. She had came over, and the reason I know this because as soon as she came over, we was over there at Predator Hunter Nation. We was swatted by the police. People found out that she was over there. Benny Keys had us swatted, and police showed up everywhere. Well, Candace was already gone. But before Candace had left, she needed a new device. She said she needed a cell phone. Her cell phone was all messed up, which that gave me the idea. I was like, you know what? I've got these other cell phones. I got these sponsors here. I had a few new cell phones. So I gave her one. It was in a box. Benny told her that the cell phone was bugged or something like that, but it wasn't. It was a new cell phone. And so supposedly she took her. Now what they say is that she threw her phone or my phone that I gave her in the pond, which is not true because later on she still was using that same phone to correspond with everybody else because the number was the same. See, the number had already been programmed on the phone for the phone I gave her. That's what people don't understand.
Uh-huh.
She threw her phone away because the phone wasn't different. So why would you throw your phone because her number changed right after that? Think about that.
Oh, I never put that together. Okay, so what she ditched was her last phone. Okay, but what she didn't count on is that Kathy still had all the messages between them
Bingo.
because Kathy was revealing a bunch of stuff.
Yes. And that's what made her say that her phone was messed up in the first place. She knew she had to get rid of it. She knew she had to go to another means. Well, when she came to me, and now I'm going to say this. I spent about an hour and 30 minutes with Candace that day. We took her. She didn't have no gas. She didn't have no fuel in her car. I remember it to the T. I put $47. I filled her car completely up. It was $47, and I went inside and I got her a Mountain. She wouldn't go in the store. I went in the store and got her a Mountain Dew because at that time, her being around the areas, she couldn't. Everybody was questioning everything. Everybody knew who she was. So I went in and got a Mountain Dew. Came back out, gave her a Mountain Dew. I filled her tank up, and we drove to a place. I remembered. It had a big old sign. It was a roadside. We sat there and she talked to me about things, what was going on, and I was asking her questions. And she said, I never forget this. She said, "You do not have your." I said, "I've got my phone on me." She said, "Can you turn it off, please?" So I took my phone out. I never forget this. I took my phone out. I showed her that I turned it off. I turned it off. I laid it down. She said, "If you don't care, will you raise your shirt up and make sure?" I was like, "Candace, the only reason you want me to raise my shirt up," and she's like, laughing around and everything. I did. I showed her that I wasn't wired up or anything like that. So I was sitting there, and she's like, and you could tell that she was holding something in, and I was like, "Look, Candace, let it out. Just kind of, be at peace with yourself. This is eating you alive, ain't it?" And she was like, and she started crying. And she was like, she kept referring it over to Benny Keys, over to this, over to that. And I'm like, "Look, Candace, that ain't what I'm talking about. I know that he watches you. I know he's got the cameras set. I know that he's got connections with those cameras to looking at you and watching you all the time." She's like, "Yeah, he does, and he don't want me talking to you." I'm like, "You ever realize there's a reason he don't want you talking to me?" She said, "Yeah, I know why." I said, "Candace," I said, "I'm for your daughter. It don't matter what anything about it. I want to find your daughter." She says, "I know you do." And it's the way she kind of said that. It kind of gave me the disbelief on it. So, we go back, and if you'll notice, when I got my phone back and everything, we was going to go live. We went live that time, and she puts her head on my shoulder. Remember when she's putting her head on my shoulder, and I go and I do that little segment there? I do that segment.
Yes.
I did that segment, not for content, not for nothing like that. It was to rattle the cages. I wanted those cages rattled. I knew where I was at, that I was okay. I was good with that. But as soon as I did that, I didn't count on us getting swatted, because as soon as I did that and put that on live, there were 4 or 5 Cobb County Sheriff's Department that literally, as soon as she left, I got her out of there, but we got swatted. They come up everywhere, and Benny Keys was like, "We kidnapped Candace." You remember when that was going on, right?
Yeah.
So they all showed up, and of course we knew the Cobb County Sheriff's Department. They're talking to me. "Where's Ernie Shell? Where's Ernie Shell?" And I'm in the back. I'm like, "I don't want to talk to these cops." And then they come in, and they're like, "Oh," so I walk out on the porch. I walk out there, and he's like, "Mr. Shell, come here. Let me talk to you." I'm like, "Whatever, brother." So I walked out there and started talking to him. And he's like, "Look, we know you're doing the right thing. We know what you're wanting to do. We know where your thing is." He's like, "But damn," he's like, "there's so many people on the internet that's called and saying that you have kidnapped Candace. Is this true?" And he plainly asked me, "Is this true?" I said, "No, man. You know how these internet trolls are." He said, "Yeah, I know, but we have to investigate it. Do you care?" I said, "Well, look, this ain't my place. This is Tina Zander's." And I think they went over and talked to them after that. that was it. I pretty much left after that. And then that night, she called me. And then that's when she supposedly went fishing and all the stuff with the shovel digging. You remember that, right? And the phones, all that happened
Yeah,
around
that
the same
that was insane. And you know what? Here's the
same
thing:
time.
Candace would have loved for you to kidnap her, but I tell you what, she made up that drama. She knew she wasn't kidnapped. Candace could whip a bear.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, people don't know Candace is a stout person. She's a very, very stout person, very stout.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I mean, and if she couldn't whip them, her hair at that time, that mohawk she had, all she had to do is stick them with it. They leave her alone. I know that for a fact because when she laid her head on my shoulder, her hair was sticking me in the chin and in my neck, and I thought I'd been shanked. But yeah, you're right.
Damn. Shonda, thank you for gifting the Crime Lines and Lies memberships. Love you, girlfriend.
But I'm not sure if it was right then or I might have parked and walked in there and looked real quick. I just don't remember. But once I knew she was gone, I went to the top of the house and went up the driveway up there.
So why wouldn't you have gone into the shed? I'm curious.
I may have. I just can't be sure on that. If I did, I went in there, but I'm not sure if I went in there right then or if I went in there at a later time. I'm not sure.
Okay. And then what? Go ahead. I'm listening.
Well, once the police started arriving and everything, I was like, man, I'm going to go question all these damn drug dealers and everything like that. And, and they reluctantly said, go ahead. I says, I think y'all should put pressure on them and get a list of every person they know. And if it was me, I'd lock them up or whatever and then start asking questions, but it's not up to me. But so they were
Why would you do that? Why from your
well,
perspective?
because, okay, in Hill Road, if you go back far enough there, Red Hill lives back there. And, I don't want to get him in trouble or nothing. Everybody goes back there looking for pills or whatever it is they're looking for.
Okay, so he's saying Fred and other people go to the shed to look for pills and things. That was the first time we heard about Fred Hill, and that's when Dawn was talking to Chris McDonough. Now, I don't know why there would be pills and things in the shed and why he thought for a minute Summer would be there, unless maybe that could possibly be the drop-off point.
Have you ever seen inside that shed where that shed's at?
Now, I'm just looking at a picture right now, but no, I haven't been in there.
Okay. Where that shed is located at, I remember when we went up there, we went up, we looked around the area there, what we could anyways, legally to do. And I pointed out the shed. I pointed out that, they have little bitty different little buildings there. And, they said that they kept like canned goods or whatever it was. But it was run down. Everything was run down. That shed there is opened up. There's like, I think at the time there was like a broken down board that lays across it. And it was, there was, I don't know if exactly a mattress or what it was, but you can kind of speculate what went on in that shed. I mean, just to be honest with you, to get a little bit of privacy out, whether it was a drop-off point or not, I can't say whether it was or not, but it was set up to be maybe a point of position or something.
Well, and there's a rumor floating around, you know how that goes, that a few weeks ago, could be a couple months ago, you know how timelines run on the internet, that old Don went down to Knoxville to get some rugs, didn't have enough money, still owed the people money from the last time, and they whipped the dog piss out of him.
Well, hell. Well, I know Don and Candace was just visiting. They went camping here the other night on one of. I can't really get into that, but they did go camping on where they thought that they'd be away from people. They was not away from people. I'll just say that.
Okay. Raider said to me, still with the summer thing, you all forget about other kids worldwide that go missing. Tell me I'm lying, just saying. Just check our live section. We do different cases every day.
You know, we see all kinds driving back through there. We even see a car coming back there just barely running on 2 cylinders, just everything they got to get back there, ask him if he's got a pill or whatever, you know. It's crazy.
He said it's all crazy. All right, some very, very interesting things that you have sent me. There is a huge human trafficking sting that goes all the way down I-40. We know children were found in Memphis. There's something going on with these motel rooms in Knoxville. Now, you brought this up years ago. People thought you were crazy. And now we have this tip that came in to this private investigator, Jason Jensen. You know him, correct?
I know.
Or know, you know of him. Okay. And anyway, it's 2 brothers. And Jason is thinking it could be like a burglary gone wrong. I think if these 2 brothers are involved, it's not about so much a burglary, because you don't even know anybody lives up there. You would have to know them to know that there is human life up on that hill. That's what I've heard a million times.
Well, you know, in order to address that, I would hope that, you know, Mr. Jensen would you know, be present when I address that, because I can pretty much show you that the ways that did not happen because of the certain situations and certain items that were never found. And for those items to pertain in child trafficking and to have something to do with child predators, when a burglary happens, if you look at the percentage of a case, there's never really a child predator or child trafficking involved in the burglary. It don't work like that. It don't work like that at all. Burglars are it's a different sort of crime. It's just like child predators and child trafficking. It's a crime that, you know, unless you're trained for the eye to look at or the situation and you don't understand it and you don't have that situational awareness, you're going to be looking for something and it's going to be right in front of you, and you're not going to be able to see it because you're not trained to what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm. And then, you know, the obvious question, why would somebody go to the holler and go to this house thinking that they're going to get what? With people outside, you know? I still think that the barrel that said for sale was a calling card.
Right.
Fires, assaults. Police records obtained by 10 News show all of these criminal activities are taking place in some of Knoxville's motels. 10 News reporter Caitlin Keenahan dug into the locations that see the most criminal activity and what hotel owners are doing about it.
Inside Knoxville's motels, some people are creating a home for themselves while others are just passing through.
You get off the exit and you turn left at the light and you're there. Like, I mean, it's just easy.
Alexis and Kiefer were the latter. Motel 6 off Cedar Bluff exit was their meetup spot at just $60 a night.
I mean, obviously we stayed there a couple times, so it couldn't have been that bad, but that's not somewhere I would want to go all the time.
It looked good online, 3-star reviews. But what they didn't know is this motel has the most calls for service for Knoxville police in the city.
We felt comfortable, like once we were kind of like in the room, but outside of that, it just was like, you had to be like aware, on guard.
That's not somewhere you want to hang out by yourself.
Over the past 5 years, this Motel 6 had more than 1,000 calls for service. Those calls range from suspicious people to assaults, fires, and overdoses.
I wouldn't advise any.
2 words. 3 stars. Okay? 3 stars. And it's a big thing going on in Knoxville. Now, let's talk about what Don said several years ago. Shoot, I can't remember the date.
It was on my interview.
I think it was. And
It
he
was?
said she was beat in the head with a hammer. She's probably fish food by now. She's probably in a motel in Knoxville. Now, why would you even say something like that?
It's because he had summer wells. When we did field interviews in Knoxville, and those hotels that came up, or the motels that came up, the ones we did interview, is the same ones that were involved in the VCAC sting operation that went on last week. It's the same ones. So you have to take that into consideration as well. And I'm actually meeting up with law enforcement today. We're doing something here where I'm at. I'll show you guys. I'll show you guys. I'm gonna turn the camera.
Okay.
Any woman by themselves to like stay there and like walk around outside.
We requested an interview with Motel 6 over the phone several times and in person. They declined to comment, but it's not the only motel with issues. Records from Knoxville police show in the past 5 years, Regency Inn on Magnolia got 959 calls. Super 8 on Merchants got 950. Executive Inn on Chapman Highway got 893. And Value Inn on Magnolia got 892.
This is obviously not a great solution or a situation for the community who lives around that. That's not a great situation for the business itself, and that's not a great situation for us when the police are having to frequently respond to the same location over and over again.
We had worked with KPD, and they told us that, hey, you got to cut down all these calls that are coming through.
Harry Patel is the owner of Executive Inn, now number 3 on the list. But just a few years ago, it was number 1.
So we closed off all the exterior points where you can come in from outside. You can just go in from the inside. So that helped reduce the traffic and nuisance.
Harry says they followed suggestions of Knoxville police.
We give you safety tips, whether that's putting up a light here, whether that's installing hedges here, whether that's putting up a camera here. It's we essentially look at the design and the layout of your property.
So Harry renovated the property and put up these gates and cameras.
Prior to that, we had a lot of guests that were staying on a weekly basis. I don't know if they were into drugs or whatever else. They had a lot of people that are coming in off the streets, visiting their room and leaving.
Executive Inn's partnership with KPD led to a year-over-year decrease in calls since implemented. The same is true for Value Inn on Magnolia.
We take all the IDs, we take all the precaution.
Ken T spoke with us over the phone about his property.
There are a handful of nuisance still out there. There are some prostitution problem out there. But we know those people and we just don't rent them.
I mean, I'd love it where we didn't have that kind of clients, but
We know those people. We just don't rent to them. Okay. They always leave the light on. You know what's going on your property. Everyone's going to make a living. But my goodness, you know, if you give out 2 key cards and the next thing you know, there's a bunch of kids there that you know they didn't check in with, that's a problem.
Exactly. You know, and it goes back to the interviews themselves with Don that he did with me. When he said, you know, he knows where this stuff goes on at. He knows where this child trafficking happens. He's been in situations where kids have been involved in child trafficking, but yet, you know, and again, my question is always, well, then why not do something if you're not part of the problem? You see what I'm saying?
Well, and then there's another scenario because a certain neighbor, who I will not say the name today, that's for another show, was hours after Summer disappeared, was in Horse Cave, Kentucky. Now, you know about those caves there. They go to the center of the damn earth.
Yes, those caves in Horse Cave, Kentucky, and I do know the person involved in that as well. I know who that is. I know I spoke with the person. I've got a few things on that. But yes, you and I both. I was investigated by the TBI. I was been investigated by the FBI over this stuff, and I've been found true. And I know you talked to the TBI, and I know you talked to other agents, and I know what they said. I know what they've told me about my theory, and now now I know that what they told you about what they said about me. So that right there gives me that, that gives me that extra saying, hey, you were right. You were right on what was going on even years ago before this stuff come out on the hotels and the motels and what was going on, because I was always including it in with my general awareness classes. Correct?
Right. Right.
Where are these people to go?
KPD says they don't want the owners to have to turn away clientele. They just want to find a mutually beneficial solution.
When you're frequently having to go to the same place over and over again, that pulls our officers away from doing some of the other stuff that might be of the higher public safety priority.
Knowing what you guys know now, would you stay there again?
No.
Hell no. No one's gonna stay there. Like I said, 2 words, 3-star. I got 2 more words, $60. Okay? Everybody needs a place to live.
The thing about it is they get the weekly discounts.
Oh.
If they stay 7 days or more on those hotels, and it's what's big about it, because a lot of times the hotels and the motels are in on it themselves, and they get a percentage of a portion. So what they do is they line about 4 or 5 of them. It's like the Ocala ones, the ones we busted in Ocala, Florida, the ones I done the video on with the walking around. They had the whole back end of the hotel shut down because what they would do is they would be 4 or 5, child traffickers go in and they would turn them into what they call kiddie pools. They would turn them into kiddie pools, and they would have these hotels, and they would line them up beside each other, and they'd have 4 or 5 rooms that they had pretty much reserved for them. And what they do is they take the child in there, and 20 to 30 times a day for $50 to $100, $150 a pop, and they get paid on Cash App and all that. That's what happens. But they got busted. They got busted out of there. It's the same as Knoxville, because it's the same ring that runs from Tennessee, North Carolina, down into the parts of even in the parts of Kentucky, Tennessee, and North Carolina. It's that same ring that's affiliated with it, but they have the interstate portals that go out toward Utah and where Utah's at, and they transfer children from there. And along the line is what they set up is these trailers, and they'll put 15 or 20 kids with what they call bottoms. And the bottoms is like the females who take care of these children, who disguise these children, who help these children out throughout. And they have to run in certain ways, the way they run in their buses. And what they usually try to do is do vans. They try to use vans. They use U-Haul rentals all the time. U-Haul rentals is one of the most easiest thing you can pick up. A driver's license, $100 down, you got a U-Haul, right?
Right. Well, Andrew Hiltz did it from Gloversville down there, and we still can't understand what that trip was all about.
You can take a U-Haul and run it across America, and you're going to pay a certain percentage. Well, think about this. You got 5, 6, 7 children in the back of a U-Haul or van or whatever. You're getting paid anywhere between $2,500 to $50,000 for this load. And what we call is dogs. They call them dogs is what they call them. And what they do is they kidnap these children. And once they stalk them, they kidnap them. And the reason less than 1% are ever found with child trafficking is because they have these people who they do these things for a certain amount of money, and it also involves doing other things. I'm not going to say it because TOS regulations, but it's true. It's true. That's why less than 1% of children are ever found. That's a fact. Once they go into this system that they have, this ring, they're passed around. They're used. They're used up. They can't go to the hospitals. They can't go to the doctors. Because why? Because it's documentation purposes. They want to stay the hell away from anything to do with documentation purposes. And Don knows this, and that's why Don would always like, I need to talk to Ernie. You remember when he was doing that? Yeah, he would always do that. Why do you think Don and Candace set up that night for when Candace was there, and she was like, they came and got Don, stormed the Capitol, because they was talking about me being involved with January 6th. They was trying to put me involved in that. That's what criminals do. They try to do what's called misplacement. They try to grab somebody else that can say this and that and put them in the position that they're in, and remove themselves completely out of the situation. And that's what they tried to do with me. But they seen that wouldn't work. So Don, the next thing he's doing, when you can see when I first do the interview with him, man, I've been wanting to talk to you. You know what you're doing. He knew I knew what I was talking about. Even when he said where they were at, the children that he'd been there, and all that, he was like, even you, Ernie, don't even know what they do with these children and why they disappear and how they disappear. But he was referring to himself that he knows, which I knew he knew because he's part of the problem. And, I just don't understand these other creators who kind of like took him in. And now I'm hearing, that Mr. Jensen is trying to say that what he's trying to do, and I'll say I'm sorry if I'm wrong on it, but what I've seen so far is he trying to take the position of Don and Candace and move the goalpost to where they're not involved, if these other group came in and got it? The thing about it is there's always follow the money. There's always that link. And we know that link from pedophilia on is going to stem around Don and Candace, correct?
It makes no sense to me how this little girl could go missing when her brothers had been home alone all day long. You have a neighbor that's in Horse Cave, Kentucky. You have all these relations to Knoxville. Holly has a question. She said, remember all the children's clothes that were on hangers that Candace had? Now, remember, these were all different size clothes. I'm not talking hand-me-downs. This was a really weird thing.
Because they are the hawks. The hawks and it's people who watch and the people who carry. They're the transporters. That's why they go to different states. That's why they was in Arkansas with this child, that child, this other family. They're the ones who initiate the contact, okay? That's what they do. That's Don's main purpose in it. And how is he paid? To be honest with you, probably with drugs. That's how it happens. That's how you're brought into the system. Exactly. Not saying that he's the main one who does the kidnapping, but no, he is the groomer. He is the one that says, hey, this is here. He is the one that opens that gate, and he has Candace to help with. I don't care what anybody says. That's always been my opinion. It always will be. When he was telling me how he was into the dominatrix stuff, you remember that?
Yep.
And how he liked people to be submissive toward him. It's just like when he said what he did with Benny Keys. I mean, it was on live. I don't mean to keep bringing him up, but it was on live. How he talked about how he did Benny Keys, and of course Benny Keys got his name Legs Over Benny because of that video. Because Don plainly told me on live in front of and God knows who, that he took Benny Keys and bent him over on the couch and made him submit to him. That's exact words Don Wells used for Benny Keys.
I heard it. I heard the whole conversation, and then YouTube took it down.
Exactly. And I told Don, I said, I will never forget this. I said, what? He said, yeah, I made him my bitch. Is what he said. Exact words what he said. I said, literally? He said, yes. He said, Ernie,
Ernie,
you wouldn't believe
literally?
I was holy hell. Like, oh my God. And I was sitting there looking at my chat at the time. I was watching it, and everybody was like, I mean, it was just all the emojis and the emotions of it. You could just see it. And I was sitting there like, and I remember Benny was calling me on my phone like 50 times, and I'd hang up. No, Benny, no, quit calling. And I would be showing my phone, and it was Benny Keys, Benny Keys, Benny Keys, Benny Keys. He did not want that out there. And Don's like, well, I guess that got out, or whatever the hell it was. That was like I think it was like the second interview we did with him. But it was just like, Don Wells pretty much, he paints a scenario. It's just like, even law enforcement told me, they said, when he goes into this, you remember when he went into it, he was like, they probably had to do away with they did away with the evidence, and then they killed her. Well, wait a minute, whoa. So you're doing away with evidence, and then you kill someone. No. You do away with the evidence afterwards, unless it's sexually related, correct?
Oh yeah, because I couldn't believe when Dawn said that. And then
And
I
I'm sitting
went,
there,
then
he
I
was
went to
painting
look
the
for it
picture.
again, and it's had been hidden by YouTube. I'm like, okay, all right. So as we know, a few weeks ago, a tip was called in to Jason Jensen. Now this involves two brothers. Now I'm putting an asterisk by everything because Jason Jensen has never followed the case, doesn't know very much about it. He's on Court TV, Law and Crime, different shows. He was reached out to, and this is regarding two brothers. Okay. Now, one of them is known for burglary. All right. I can't quite put it together, but I'm not an investigator. So help me with this. This is from my show a couple weeks ago.
Legal custody of them are their parents. And so we put out the Amber Alert to alert everybody, including citizens. If you have a cell phone, your phone will go off on Amber Alerts. So you can be on the lookout and help us spot this child if the child happens to show up in your area.
No one has been charged in relation to Summer's disappearance.
Well, hey, welcome back, Jason. Thank you for the terrific work you do on these cases. What's up, Avery?
I brought him.
Hi.
Good deal. Hey,
He
how
said
busy?
he
How busy?
only has a minute.
That's okay.
Yeah, I only have a minute. I have a busy Monday.
All right. Well, you made the internet busy this weekend because it blew up. We would love to know about this tip. I know you can't tell us. Is there any little morsel you could give us?
Well, I mean, I can't really give you the substance of the tip, but I can lend some details why I find the tip to be credible. I've been doing this stuff for 16 years. I'm a co-founder of the Cold Case Coalition. We have a program called the Missing Coalition, and we're a nonprofit. So for me to get a tip on a case is not.
Okay. Unnamed True Crime with Avery said, well, burglary and breaking in on young girls is what he's in jail for now. Well, if he's in jail now, it's public record. Who is the person we're talking about? Because I can't find the article.
Okay, did it happen in Knoxville?
Knoxville, I don't know. I was told like 10 minutes away from Dawn and Candace.
Okay, hold on. Let me see what I can do real fast. Reality, don't you just love it?
And we have a lot of locals in here, and they've been kind of, confused too. If this person's in jail, then it's public record. So who is it?
Okay, so here we go. Okay, so here's your good one. This is just in February. How long ago did this happen?
Well, I mean, Summer went missing June 15th of 2021. That's really the only date on this show I care about.
No, I'm talking about the man convicted of abusing children. It's in Knoxville, and believe it or not, it's in Knoxville, Tennessee. Wow.
Okay.
So, let me see what we have here with this. I don't know if this is the same guy or not. Let me see what we got here. Okay, so this is in 2024. Knoxville man is facing at least 12 to 20 years prison, convicted of sexually abusing two children despite defense's argument calling the victims devils of deception. That's one of them. Again, we'll have to look into this.
Okay. All right, let's get back to what was told to Jason. Right. And I put the link up for Avery or Jason if they want to come up. Remember, this is about Summer.
Not a big surprise. I get tips all the time. This particular tip called me
because he saw me, do a couple of past interviews concerning Summer Wells. So he wanted to get me this information because he, as he put it, doesn't trust the locals, whatever that means. I don't press people on their ways of thinking, but I'm used to that there's a certain section of the population that either has had a bad experience with law enforcement or doesn't trust or like them for whatever variety of reasons. So he wanted to give the information to me, an outsider. So and he wanted to remain anonymous. Obviously, if he directed the police, if he directed his information to the police directly, his name is known. And there's reasons for that. Sometimes they're part of an inner circle. Sometimes the people that they're given a tip on are dangerous. In a small community such as Rogersville, it wouldn't be a surprise if, once the information came out, they would know who called in the tip and they'd be, in some kind of danger. So, given the nature of the case, when he called, I recognized the number, the number registered on my caller ID as a Rogersville call. So that part's credible. And then the accent of the individual had a thick Appalachian accent, which clearly means he's from that part of the country, rather than if he had a New Jersey accent or Minnesotan. It came across as viable. And then when he gave the information that he did, I understand why he was concerned about these two brothers and why it was relevant to call it in. So I notified TBI this morning.
Okay, so it's two brothers, not brother and sister.
No, I don't know where that comes from.
Oh, just speculation, people wondering.
Yeah. No, two brothers.
Two brothers, okay. Well, thank you for the good work and calling in the tip, and let's see how this shakes out. I mean,
yeah, all we can do now is wait, right?
For real. Yeah, we would love for them to go live, every 30 minutes and say this is what we're working on, but that would be a futile way to spend your time, because you can't exactly get your job done if you're letting the public know what you know.
Right. And there's reasons for me posting stuff online. I mean, I got a lot of, hateful comments about being a con or that I had nefarious or selfish reasons for posting stuff.
No, I don't think he has any nefarious reasons for posting anything. I do not know who called this tip in that wants to be anonymous. I called TBI myself and I gave them the information, and, they took it down. And of course, same old, same old. I don't expect them to say, oh, cool, that works. They're just like, thank you. Thank you for letting us know. So two brothers, but only one was supposedly on the hill. So I don't know I guess maybe the other brother's the one that called Jason. I don't know.
Well, okay, so I hate to bust his bubble on that. And I don't want to, and again, I'm not trying to discredit this man. I don't know this man. But the next question I would be having, just for him is, when you got this tip, did you do what you called your preliminaries? Did you ask these questions on to find out if it's verifiable information that you're getting, or is it just something to throw you off? Because it sounds to me like something that White Boy Radio already came up with. You remember that, right?
Yep.
So if you're looking at that and you got your timeline, if you got your timeline, you got your outline in your timeline here, okay? This information comes in here. Then you're gonna have your one, then you're gonna have your ABC. You're gonna have all of your information out here. You're gonna be able to look at that and you're gonna be able to say, well, the who, what, when, where, how, those questions are gonna come into play, like, how did you get this information? Where did you find this information? When you're gonna come up with these, at least those three things. And then once that information comes to you, then you're gonna take a minute. You're gonna gather this information, and hopefully you got a pen and paper to write this stuff down, or a recorder. And then you're gonna go through this information. You're gonna put this person. You're gonna say, wait, hold on one second here. Let's look at this. And then you're gonna see if it even collaborates, even if it kind of even fits in play. Just the word fits in play. Does it fit? Can it work? Is it possible that this happened? And then that's when you're going to say, well, hey, I'm still going to report it. I'm still going to do this. I'm still going to do that. It's same as I did with the TBI. I noticed everybody that worked with the TBI or reported on the TBI that they all say the same thing, except for, everybody that brought tips in, we're going to get back to you, all this. They never get back to them and everything. But guess what, Brooks? They got back with me.
They've gotten back with me one time just because they needed more information. They're not going to call. They're not going to call and say, "Hey, you're right. This is what we're doing with it." But if they need more information, then what you gave them might be something that's leading them somewhere. It's a very disturbing, convoluted case. And there are some people that still think that she just wandered off in the woods and they're going to find her. Well, it's been 4 years. And there's too many coincidences of the day and the week leading up to. CPS showing up on June 14th, wanting to see Summer after what Marlena called in to something that allegedly happened to her daughter up on that hill. They want to see Summer. That same day, Dawn fires Dudley. Jackie Dobbs said he came across Dawn. Jackie Dobbs had just bought the property. He said Dawn wasn't acting like himself. Like he had something, he was preoccupied. I'll just put it that way. Okay. Then we know the next day, suddenly Candace gives a shit about her mother. Uh-oh, we lost Ernie. Candace gives a shit about her mother all of a sudden and has to take her to the hospital, and then goes to reconnect with Hunter when they had already had a big knockdown drag out. Oh, hang on. I'm trying to resend him the link. Give me a second. A big knockdown drag out back in the fall. And, well, we know where you are now.
But mind you, if this is a valid tip and it's third parties that are responsible for her disappearance, this family has gone through hell over this.
Mm-hmm.
They've been vilified simply because of
Can you hear me?
their home and their lifestyle or the conditions of the.
Oh yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Holly said, I promise you, Pandrew with his U-Haul full of kids was the Wells' first attempt to sell Summer. Woo! Girl. Woo! 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 Yep, your sound is much better. Okay, so this is where Jason is saying, don't judge the Wells. Again, he has not followed the case, so he doesn't really know what we know.
People pass judgment really quick. And it's like, the thing that I recognized right off the bat is they had no reason to open up their house and show their skeletons in their closet, except for their honesty. And, I'm a criminal profiler and a criminologist. I have a master's degree in it. So when I see people open up the way they did, they have nothing to hide. They're looking for answers. They're in a lot of pain, and they don't care what kind of scrutiny that they receive. And they've already passed polygraphs.
They passed the polys.
So leave them alone. Let's go find out what really happened to her. Stop turning back at the family as if they have something to do with it. They've been searched. They've been scrutinized. They've been interviewed. What more can they do to display their their sincerity when they say they had nothing to do with it. And
they may not. They may not. Way too many red flags for most people. Way too many red flags. And this polygraph bullshit, you got to be kidding me. You know how many people fail polygraphs that are innocent? You know how many people pass them that are guilty as sin? I could care less. That's a tool for law enforcement. It's not used in trial, but some people get really hung up on it. Ernie, I think you're frozen and you're muted.
and when they express just the same level of confusion that the rest of the community has. We don't know what happened to her. Neither do they. If they knew, they wouldn't be asking for help.
Well, can I ask you this, and this is from a outside looking in public perspective. Do you think that maybe the prank call on Mary made people think that they weren't, their integrity wasn't in the right place? Or when all the pedophilia came out, or the past criminal histories, or how they had lost children in other states, would make people think that possibly it wasn't a good life for the children, and CPS taking the kids.
Well, you know, all those are valid points, but they create a bias, right? And if you're looking to blame the family, it's called confirmation bias. But just because...
What does that mean, Ernie? Confirmation bias? Because isn't it a common practice when someone gets arrested, they look at their past criminal history, they dig into, you know, their family history, they want to see.
And that's pretty much what he's trying to get at. He's trying to say, he's trying to associate that while people are saying that they did this because of the pedophilia, the criminal past, the way things Don has already said on YouTube and pretty much to that. He's pretty much trying to give him a pass, but without giving him a pass is what he's doing. He's saying, like if you see what he's doing right now, he's trying to take the attention off of Don Wells and Candace and saying, hey, they passed a lie detector test. You know how easy it is to pass a lie detector test? It's very simple to pass a lie detector test. It's easy. It's easy. All you have to do is act like you're a nervous person anyways, especially for something like this with a missing child. You're going to be nervous as a parent. The fact of the matter is, what these people have not done is what other people who are actually victims and not perpetrators do themselves. And what that is, have you seen them get out and look for their child? No. When all this groups was going around looking for Summer, where was they at? They was in hotels. You know, your actions tell on you, people. Your actions are going to tell on you. Now, I know a lot of people's hit me and got mad at me for this, for saying, hey, it's as simple as this. If it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, then by God, it's a duck. It's as simple as that. Now, what he's trying to do is he's trying to take the blame. And again, he's moving the goalpost from the content. Look, the fact of the matter is, when it's child predators or child trafficking, 92% is always the parents. Always. Somebody within the family. Somebody knows something. It may not be them directly that removed the child or that did something to the child, but guess what? They had a hand in it some way. For him to say that and to say, well, they're using because Don Wells' history, Candace's history, the past here, there, things that he's done to underage children before or said about them, that it's automatically going to be looked at Don and make him a suspect. Let me just say this. Don is the main suspect. Now, for him to say that, that makes me question him on what he knows about situational awareness. And that's what I said in my live earlier today. How much does this man know when it comes to situational awareness? And not just that, but the aspects. Aspects can be your different, again, scenarios of what could have happened and how it happened, how it played in. This man went on a tip. I don't see no outline. He did not tell you no outline. He did not say, hey, why is this? Question this, question that, question this, question that. Check it twice, cut it once. The man put it out on the internet without checking it. Simple as that.
Well, and that happens. That happens. That happens. And if this man is in jail for burglaries and breaking in on young girls, then that's public record. What's his name? Hold on. We have Raider Rich backstage. He wants to say hi to everybody. Everyone say hi to Raider. Hey, Raider.
What's up? You guys hear me or what?
Yeah. Anything you want to say about this?
Well, yeah. I actually do, but I have do I have the floor? Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up, Bernie? What's up, Bernie? Okay, look. I won't be here long, but all I want to say is that when it comes to the whole Summer Wells case, okay, look, you know what? It's a sad story, okay? Yes, but then again, I could go deep on, you know what, all the whole fucking, you know what, all the whole, these, these channels with the whole, the whole true crime kind of shit. But look, then again, none of them know the real laws about it. But there are kids, and you know what, people who are actually abducted every fucking day, bro. And then look.
Oh no! Are you here to preach to me? Because we talk about
No.
Okay, and
I
think
you give me the floor, right?
And I think every
You give me the floor, right?
I'm the host.
Well,
I'm the host.
Yes.
And so if I think you're
okay.
up here to preach to me about what I do with my internet access, I'm not going to have it. And so I don't care what other channels do. I have a lot of friends that are creators, and I think they do great.
We all do, right?
Okay, so let's get to it.
Okay, look. All I'm saying is that there are missing kids, probably millions worldwide. But look, what actually, well, about those kids? But well, you know what? We all can't just focus on one child. That's all I'm saying.
Well, who on this
Right?
channel is focusing on just one child?
Well, there are, missing kids every day. It is not just, Summer Wells. There are missing people, missing women and men too. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
that's all I'm saying though.
Okay, well, check out my playlist and then you come back and talk to me, okay? All right, sorry about that. I don't understand what's going on there.
Oh, I don't know. I ate spaghetti today doesn't mean I always eat spaghetti. Right? Sometimes people have bad past. They learn from their mistakes. They move on. Human condition is dynamic. People can change. It's hard to change bad habits, but people do change. And sometimes it takes a life-altering moment, like the loss of your children, to make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't throw stones in glass houses. So let's find Summer. That's the paramount.
All right, and this is where I do disagree with Jason, because there's glass houses and there's brick houses. I live in a brick house, and let me tell you what, right now, I don't abuse children. I've never had a child taken from me, never been under suspicion for anything like that. Nothing. You'll never hear me on the internet going, "Oh, my son could have been beaten with a hammer in a hotel in Knoxville and now is fish food." So that's kind of where he's not on the up and up with the case.
Well, here's the thing. This is the point where it comes out, and this tells about what he's really in it for. Is he in it for justice? Or, as well as I do too, is he in it for this, Brooks?
Mm-hmm.
Think about it.
Oh, I don't know. All right, Raider's still backstage. I just want to see if he took a second to look at the playlist and if he's ready to apologize to all these nice people here. Hey, Raider, did you get a chance to look at my playlist to see that we talk about many, many, many cases? Raider?
Well, I would have to actually, go through the whole thing. Come on. I was like, well, I'm here now. You know, I mean, it's like really, it's like, I mean, you really want me to just, I mean, go through the whole playlist right now when I'm on here for reals? I mean, that would take forever, right? I mean, no, you know, this, you know, respect at all, right? I mean, shit.
Well, there's no disrespect, but I don't want all these nice people in here disrespected that do all kinds of advocacy and take up for these children when a lot of times their parents won't. And so when
I understand that
when you come in and you want to encapsulate and you say there's other missing children besides Summer, then
but there are though, right? But there are. There's, you know what, millions. There's probably like what millions.
Okay, so what is your point? What is your point? I mean,
it is
when I come in talking about Harvey Montgomery, are you going to chime in and say, well, there's other missing children? When I'm talking about Michael Vaughn, are you going to come in and say, well, there's other missing children? When I'm talking about Emily Pike, who I'm going to revisit here in a couple of days, are you going to come in and say there's other missing children? What child is not important enough to spend an hour or two talking about?
Okay, look.
And
before I go,
no,
okay,
you say millions.
fine,
You say
fine.
millions. Well, I don't have 1 million hours to do all this.
Well, saying, you know what? Look, one thing I will say is this: is that we can actually talk about this shit till you know what? Till we're blue in the fucking face. But look, we have no control on what happens every day. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
But you're here now. But you're here.
But it's all quiet now because you know why? I was actually invited here. That's why.
That's fine, and I'm glad you're here. I mean, I love different
Okay.
people's views.
All right. I mean,
Ernie, anything you want to say to address this?
I'm respectful here, though, right? I mean, right? I mean, so far, I mean.
Well, the thing about it is, whenever you start an investigation, looking into it, and I understand, Raider, there are a lot of children that are out there missing, and none of them got quite the publicity that Summer Wells did. I think, more or less this panel today is about the new changes in the case and what's going on, the tips that was brought in. And we're kind of discussing like pretty much what tip had been brought in and the new person with being the investigator, Mr. Jensen. That's pretty much what we're at. And, what I question now after even hearing this, what I wanted to do is, I never listened to him over the Summer Wells case and his tips. I wanted it to be fresh to me today. This is the first time I'm hearing it. So I get that automatic response. You know what I'm talking about, Brooks? Mm-hmm. I didn't want to listen to it. I wanted to listen to it on panel. And this is the first time I've listened to him, what he's doing there. So it's the first time I've listened to him over Summer Wells case. I wanted that automatic response, and I'm getting that response. And I'm getting to see him firsthand and see how he works and how he pieces together his puzzles. Does he start out on the outside and make the square or the circle or whatever, or does he start on the inside and then he form it outside? That's that's the kind of little deal that I was trying to get from him, the vision from that. That's what I wanted to see. And but yeah, you're right, Raider. There's millions of kids, there's 4.5 million kids that go, that are missing yearly, worldly. So yes, but
and I
800,000 in the United States, yes, but we're one of the most leading. Go ahead.
I thought we addressed that at the beginning of the show. And I think that we do a different show every day. So I just think he's not familiar with the channel. I mean, I'm glad he's here. Glad, for the conversation. But now I want to get back to Summer because it's no one's going to tell me where my heart goes. And Summer Wells breaks my heart. Okay? She does. I don't think this little baby ever had a chance. Okay? She was failed by everyone. But I'm going to give you a big round of applause, and I'm glad you came up to share what you have to say about YouTube, just not about Summer Wells. And look at this, our friend from down under, Gabby's mom. She's been a member for 41 months. She said, I followed Brooks for years. She covers a lot. Woo! Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, speaking of covering a lot, I have a bunch of conversations between Ernie and Dawn. The ones between Ernie and Candace had a lot, but when you cornered Dawn, I don't have that relationship with him. You know what he told me one time? I told him, I said, well, you know, it's a bad look when you say that your daughter was raked on her 18th birthday and she just sucked it up. He said, you wish you was pretty enough to get fucked up. And I'm like,
I remember you saying, I remember you telling me that. I was like, what?
Nutcase, freaking nutcase.
I remember this right here. I remember this. Go ahead.
You want to answer those questions? Now you're going to call me a dickhead after you said my heart was in it and it was good. Go look outside your door, Don. Yeah, go on out there and look. Look up at the stars. Look up at the stars, Don. And I want you to do me a favor. I want you to say your name. Summer Wales. I want you to go outside. I want you to look out this door, and I want you to look up, and I want you to say her name. Summer Wales. Go do it, Don. Why can't you do it, Don? Hey, Candace, was you on drugs when you were sitting there in the corner and that blood was trickling out your arm? Well, why was you on there for? I know, man, but why? How did you know about that, Don? How did you know about that? How did you know about that, Don? How did you know about that? Do you watch me, Don? Do you stalk me? Are you obsessed with me, Don? Do you want me to send you a picture of my shirt off like Benny did? I don't want. Yes, I'm in the area, but look. Here's the fact of the matter is, listen. I can't sign that NDA you want me to sign. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do when I slap that half the hair off your head? Well, you talk to me, Don. Let's talk like gentlemen. You want to? Yeah, I appreciate that, Don, for making her stop. I do. I don't have nothing against you, man. So, yeah.
Okay, right now, Don is getting ready to slap Candace's brains out. Watch this.
And why do we got to talk on your property? Why can't we just meet out and talk? Where do you want to meet up? I'm ready to go right now. What do you want to go do? What do you want to go do? Where are you at? I'm in Kingsport right now.
What was he so pissed at you about?
Because I kept on saying, how'd you know that? How'd you know that? How'd you know that? And it got him stuck because I was using who, what, when, where, how. But Candace is in the background, and I just wanted to fill him out. I wanted to. So here's the thing. We have a thing in bounty hunting. It's called glad or sad. If you can make somebody glad or sad, it's going to show their true emotions. It's true. So in this case, I knew Don, being who he is, being dominatrix and all that, always wanting the power control. I knew that he had, I was going to give him the power, let him have the control, and then all of a sudden take it away from him. That way he would automatically get mad. And he did. He did exactly what I wanted him to do. So when people get mad, guess what? They get heated. They say things they don't mean to say, but they do. And that's what happened. And Candace is in the background, and she kind of caught on to what I was doing, and that kind of amazed me right there. And she kept talking to him, no, so fucking Ernie like that. So he slaps the fire out of her. Remember this? You hear it in a minute, he'll slap her. He's like, "Leave me alone, Candace. I can't hear that." But he knows because I've got his full undivided attention at this time. I know that I've got it. I know I've got a direct contact with me and Don Wells right then and there. Nobody's interfering, nothing. I can hit him with anything I want from there. My arsenal's opened up. I'm ready. I've got him in aim. I've got him in, he's my target. And I'm sitting here asking questions, but I'm asking what's called direct questions. And then I'll pull back and then I'll ask something indirect. And if Mr. Jensen knows what that is, he'll understand that when you do that, you put pressure on, you pull off, you put pressure on. It's just like you're going fishing. You're not all the time pulling that fish. You got to give it a little bit of slack. You give that fish a little bit of slack, that way it tires it out. And at the same time, in the background, I had water running. You can hear a little bit of the water running. So that automatically calms your body down. When you're around a lake, like if you go picnic and you're around a waterfall, lake, or anything, and then that goes into the signs and symbols of waterfalls and pedophilia. And again, that's for another time. But what I did is I knew that the water running would be the best time for investigation, for an interrogation or anything like that, or the investigation. So I knew with the water running, his body's going to be kind of calm, more calmed down. And then I knew I could take him where I wanted him to go. I'm leading this conversation. Yes, I'm making light of it and I'm making fun of him and I'm doing all this here and there, but it's just to throw him off his game plan on what he's usually able to do to other YouTubers when he controls the situation. But I'm showing him right there that he don't control it. And therefore, he's responding to me like, where are you at? Come see me. He's not going to fight me. He wants to talk to me. He knows that I know what's going on with the situation.
Okay, so after this conversation, he got clipped saying this. You mentioned the water. Listen.
Every night when I wake up to piss before I go to sleep, I go to sleep. I go to sleep every night praying for Summer and begging God and asking him why. Very first thought I have every night when I wake up to piss before I go to sleep, I go to sleep. I go to sleep every night praying for Summer and begging God and asking him why.
Woo!
Running waterfall. I told everybody that. Years ago, you remember when I was telling this? Waterfall, pedophilia, rain. Remember the for sale thing? I brought this out. I'm the one that brought all this out. It's signs and symbols. Why have her in a position in camera view, perfect straight on target, perfect straight on angle? Never was it a side angle. Listen, let me say this. When you're filming somebody and you accidentally catch them, guess what? They're not always in the middle frame of the camera, right? Notice every photo that was out there of Summer Wells, every video, Summer was the main directive, always in the center. The things around her, the panda, the green money sign, the for sale barrel, was always in view. She never covered it. She was never covering it. Never. You could always see it visible. Always. The running water, the pouring rain, dropping of the water, the white, the red, the signs, the colors, everything. And all of those in the VCAC, they stand for something. White, red, and waterfalls stand for something. I'm not going to go ahead. I'm not going to reveal this in this live because this goes into a deep subject.
Now put that on your channel. That's fine.
Exactly.
That's fine. All right, Krista, thank you so much for the super sticker. Is Raider your friend? He's very upset with me.
He's a friend. He's a moderator. I don't think he. It's okay. It's okay.
He just sent me a message and he said, well, what about, Casey Anthony and her little girl? It's on the channel. I'm talking about Summer today. Well, tell him I'm sorry. Maybe I misunderstood him.
No, it's okay. It's time and place.
Where you used to work at.
Where's the microphone?
You want to bet? I'm over by the Oak Sullivan County Community Corrections there. Actually, I'm close to it.
Pause it right now, Tina, if you can.
What?
Pause it right now.
Okay, I'm pausing. I'm trying to figure out exactly where the mic is on this.
Well, what I want to tell everybody is Candace is right there. Listen to this. Candace is right there listening to everything. And she's right there by his ear. He starts smacking her. He's like, get the hell out of the way, Candace. I can't hear shit. And then he throws a damn carton of cigarettes and nails her with it. It is funny as hell. He throws something and you can hear Cam answered the phone. I think it was Cam that answered the phone. Cam was up there, Cam. You can come up. We can talk about it, bro. Come on, cracking cases. We want to crack those cases, old buddy. But anyway.
You know, and I think Kim and Allie's downfall was becoming friends with them. They were doing good. And Candace made that comment. She said that she caught Cam snoring pills, her words, snoring pills. And she said that, oh, she didn't want that around.
Right.
And I'm like, now hold on, because he didn't share with you. Speaking of sharing, Zach Walker, look at this gift and membership. Man, a couple of years ago, I was talking to Dawn. Candace was banging cabinets, and she was whipping the dog shit out of him. And he was like, you know who this is. You know who I'm talking to. And I don't know what she thought was going on. She called me a pussy fart. Now, I don't expect you to know what that means, Ernie, but it's only something good old can't would say.
Right.
Anyways, Cam is up there, and it's fucking hilarious. It is hilarious.
In a minute. All right. Yeah, and I didn't actually hear the phone get answered, but it's later, as soon as I heard his voice in the background talking to Candace and yelling at Dawn or saying something to Dawn about talking to you, I was like, was that Cam? And then that's when we all kind of knew, and we started listening. And
well, that's when I said, it sounds like you're having a party up there, Don.
Right.
And I'm like, who all's up there? He's like, he's trying to get on the porch. He runs out on the porch, and Candace is behind him. He runs out on the porch, and Candace is behind him. And he's sitting there like fanning her away, and he's sitting there like, you get the fuck away from me. So, you know, look at this. And look at these platypussies here. Get them out of here. Thank you so much. Just get all these weak people, these offense people. Get them out of here. We don't need them.
We don't think that it's funny that they were shooting up together in the bathroom on live, and everybody still sings some songs and praises either. So how about that?
So there, get Miss Chuckles out of here. It's part of the problem, guys. These people are part of the problem. Get them out of here. We don't need these people.
Let me say something.
Thank you, son. Thank you. The mods are the bomb. Mods are awesome. Our mods are awesome. So they.
No, I really ain't. I promise I ain't. I really want to talk to you about. I mean, really, seriously, about some good stuff. Where are you at? I just told you. Come on. I just told you. You remember where the old pub was at? The wagon wheel. You all right? You get her. The cops are here already. You got fucking call the cops here? The cops is up there? What are the cops up there for, Don? What's wrong with the cops being up there, Don? No, I would never do that, old buddy. Why? I mean, what would they be up there for?
What were the cops doing there, Ernie?
What's wrong, Don?
Don was doing that so he could get off the panel. Don was doing that so he could get away from everything. He was spacing himself. The police was not up there. Don was actually spacing himself from the conversation. It's pretty much too hot for the kitchen. That's what we phrase that on. Angela says something about Jason. Look, here's the thing. I am not by no means disregarding what Jason Jensen, the private investigator, says. However, if Brooks can line it up and set it up, I will give Jason Jensen a tutorial seminar on child predators and child trafficking debate any day he wants it. Any day he wants it. Just saying. Not saying anything degrading Jason and what he's doing, but there are some things that are being left out on how did you come up with this answer. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Well, he's welcome to come up.
He's more than welcome, and I'm not trying to degrade him. Yes, he is good at what he does, but when it comes to stepping himself out into a position and playing someone else's game or putting them into a field that he's not aware of, because I don't think he's aware of child trafficking and child predators as people think. I'm just saying. That's all I want to say.
And honestly, you guys both do the same things. If you both worked together, it might, help out. Always watching. Thank you for the super sticker. Nicey, Maurice, and Ernie. What do you think about the satellite images of the grave site in 2022 from Jeff Bobo?
when we start talking about that gravesite, there's so much we could say about it. But like I said, we actually had a way to where we could file to get where we could get sonar in beside. It wouldn't even. It wouldn't even. You're talking about the gravesite, the grave thing is right across from them, right? Correct.
Mm-hmm.
The Morrison Cemetery.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we actually filed, and we could have went on further with that. However, having the resources to do certain things with, I'm not in that area. Am I investigating other things now? Yes. Do I drive? Yes. Do I work? I'm constantly busy now. I would love to do that. I would love to have a team, just as we had the American Freedom Fighters ready to go when I was going to search that place. You remember when Candace said, "Yeah, you can come up and search." Remember how many people jumped in on that? We had 2 helicopters, we had drones, we had everything ready to go. All we needed was a signature, and we couldn't even get the signature to let us do that. I mean, we had the American Freedom Fighters, we had people from Georgia, people from Tennessee, everybody was ready to go with it. So there we go. And that's what happened. And I want to make this clear too, because a lot of people, I'm getting a lot of messages. I want to say this: I have not been paid a single dime to do this interview today with Brooks. Okay, I have not been paid anything. I know a lot of people. I was reading messages, and a lot of people messaged me, "How much is she paying you?" I am not getting paid. I do not want paid. If I was to find Summer today, I don't want a penny of it. I don't want a penny of the money. Nothing. I don't want any of it.
Who the hell would say that to you? It's not business anyway. I don't know why so many people worry about shit that has nothing to do with them. Okay, let's look at this.
Hope you are all having a lovely weekend. Today, I want to talk about the text that is floating around online. It is allegedly a text from Candace to Ernie. The first thing I noticed is that her name is spelled incorrectly, so it does make me question the credibility a little bit. However, I must say, that Candace spells her name in an unusual way. It took me a while to get used to the spelling too. Now, this text message is very interesting and alarming as well if it's true. When Dawn and Candace did their very first on-camera interview, Dawn was very confident that Summer was not on the property. It definitely makes one think. Candace, on the other hand, was not so confident at the beginning, and just let Dawn do the talking, and we know that he pushed the abduction narrative as hard as he could. He even said that Summer was abducted and taken far, far away. Dawn said he felt sorry for the searchers because he saw them limping around there, and he knew Summer wasn't there. Candace now says she doesn't know for sure whether Summer is on the property or not. That is extremely telling to me. First of all, why is she not out there searching if she is not sure? No mother would just sit back and not search if she truly wanted to find Summer. Don't you think so? Candace said she is not allowed to search. Who's going to stop her from searching for her own daughter? Many have come forward to offer Candace help to search for Summer, to which she didn't sound keen on. Bottom line, if these texts are truly sent from Candace, then it raises a lot of questions for me. It also makes me wonder why law enforcement keeps searching the same area over and over again. They are not branching out, they concentrating on the area surrounding Summer's house. They obviously have their reasons for doing so. I mean, they are the ones with access to all the phone pings and data for June 15, 2021.
She was thinking. She was thinking. She was asking questions that really aren't in Candace's wheelhouse, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And that would have actually freaked me out.
There was a time. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Right here. This right here. Go ahead and play this. This right here is big.
Awesome. So, would you say that Dawn was kind of a mysterious kind of person when you talked to him about what happened?
Dawn is a very mysterious person.
Wow.
Oh.
Let me ask you a question. What's something that you've asked Dawn about, and then he's totally just got mad about it with? Like literally, like it just set him off. Like something to set him off.
Okay, like I'll ask him about who he's talking to on the phone. That really pisses him off.
Let me ask you a question. When he's around you, when he's around.
Oh, I can tell you that for sure. because old Can't was furious when he was talking to me. She was slamming cabinet doors, telling him to get off the phone. Said, I don't want to talk to that pussy fart. What was your, all the time you spent with Candace, what was your overall impression of her?
She's hiding something.
Okay.
She knows. There were so many things that I caught her in, even offline. One of the conversations that we were having, and she was, you could see during that time, the grieving, this is the grieving phase. 4 or 5 months, even afterwards, she still has that, she had that guilty conscience. And every time it was brought up, she was sick, she was this, she was that. There was multiple times that her body language, it would change. She would say something, she would want to say something. She told people, I believe, what really went on. But I do believe also now that the person who actually went to TBI, and you and I both know who it is, that's turned this huge tip in. And the pressure, what happened is the pressure got so tight. We look at it and everything, and we say, well, what pressure is the TBI really putting on people? It's not Hawkins County putting pressure on. It's the TBI putting pressure on these people. And we don't get to see it. We can't see it out here because the pressure is not on us because we're not involved in it. But see, I know for a fact because I've been interviewed, I don't know how many times, and questioned by it. And they're telling me, what we think, what you said lines up, this, that. And I'm like, okay, then we know what's actually going on then. And that kind of gives me that inspiration to say, hey, maybe these 109 children that were rescued and these other things, these other investigations that's going on with the VCAC, with the TBI, with ICAC, with all that going on, it actually believes maybe there's hope for Summer after all. I'm looking into that. I'm looking for that. I hope that's the case. But I also know how the TBI work, and you do too. We both have talked to them. They wait for that. They wait for that net. They don't just go and get one or two. They want the whole kit and caboodle. And that's the way it works.
Hawkins County is so inexperienced with cases like this. They could come across OJ's bloody glove and not know what the hell they're looking at. I just don't think they have been much help here at all, except for calling in the people they needed to.
Round he's sitting here doing this right here. When he lays his phone down, does he lay it where it's holding up like this?
Yeah.
Or does he lay it where it's down like that?
No, it's usually upside down where nobody can see anything.
Right. Why do you think he does that?
I don't know. I just figure because he don't want me to know who he's talking to.
Right, exactly. What's the worst thing you've ever caught him doing? Nothing crazy now. Nothing crazy.
No. I'm not even going to say this online because no,
okay.
I can't do that.
Okay.
No.
So
that's something I'd have to tell you in confidential, in private.
Okay. I understand that.
But oh gosh, there's about 1,000 things I could think of, but
right. Do you ever just I've never been to your house. I don't know what it looks like. Is it like a little trail that goes into the woods and stuff?
Man, I don't know. I don't go out in these woods.
Okay.
I stay right here at the front porch and right here where the vehicles are, and that's all the further I go. I don't go into the woods or into any freaking stupid trails or whatever anybody has said.
Right. And I'm not going to talk about nothing that's going to trigger nobody because that ain't what it's about tonight. I'm just trying to, do what I need to do and get everything situated before I've got to do what I do. But
right. I hear you.
So
I hear you.
We are you happier now, Candace?
Am I happier? Well, I'm happy, but I'll be really happy when I get my babies back. When I get my babies back, then I'll be really happy.
Right.
I mean, I'm okay. I'm happy to a point. I mean, it's just me and the dogs here, but I'm happy to a point. But without my kids, I'm not really happy.
Right.
My kids were my world, my everything. Anything that ever meant to me were my kids.
One must ask exactly what children is she talking about, because she lost 2 in Wisconsin, supposedly 1 in Arkansas, and 4 in Tennessee. Okay. You know, and her and that damn crack cough from that Knoxville shit that Dawn picks up for her is all too telling.
Right.
And she corrected herself. And I'm sure you caught it. First, she said, I need to get my boys back. And then she said, all my babies back. She only wants the boys. Now, I don't know if you have been looking at the Find Summer Wells Facebook page, the website, or anything. Their focus is so on the oldest son, Josie, who is up for adoption. Waylon and Wyatt have been adopted. But Dawn, you know, he was told that he was no longer allowed to see Josie, because when he was talking to Josie, the one thing he was not allowed to bring up is Summer, and he did. Why do you think there's such a fixation on Josie right now?
So, you know, first off, those kids are, you know, I'm not a big fan of CPS. I'm not a fan of the, you know, DCS, however way you want to take it. When kids go into foster care, I know the biggest percentage of that and what they do. Hopefully they go into a good home where they're away and they get out of the system completely. You understand what I'm saying on that?
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I do think they're going to still be monitored. I still think that they're going to be, you know, as they get older, things are going to come out, because you know they know. I mean, you know that there's probably a section onto that where the boys, they ask the boys this, that. There's so many scenarios that go in with that, and so many different answers we've got from Candace and Don both about the boys being there, boys not being there. So that goes to say, maybe that's your greatest witnesses right there. The ones that's going to actually speak up on their sister. Let's just think about that. So them taking the oldest, maybe they're saying, hey, maybe we can just little by little, gradually, they won't just hit him with it all at once. They'll gradually bring the child into it, and maybe here and there introduce him to a certain, they'll have somebody appointed to that child, and every once in a while it'll be like a big brother kind of thing, and then that child naturally is going to, you know, relate to that person, and they'll start releasing information out. That's the way it works. That's the way they do. That's the way they do children that are involved in murder cases and all this other stuff, when their parents are, you know, and they got to really find out. That's what takes the cases so long. And it could be that maybe the TBI is just looking for some reason. Maybe they have all the information they need anyways, and they're just wondering, hey, what can we charge these people for? What is the actual things that we can get them? That way we can actually once they put a charge on them and they separate Don and Candace into an interrogation room, notice every time Don and Candace has been interrogated, they're right by each other. On the Dr. Phil show, right beside each other, every single time. What would happen if you was to separate them? Put this one east, this one west, both of them interrogated, good cop, bad cop, things come in, dossier comes into effect, boom. You know what's going to happen? Guess what? You're probably going to have more than one confession. Then, not only that, you're going to have all your links that are going to come into play. They're going to start coming into play. Then you're going to start having your web. This here, that here, this here goes over here. This is connected this way. Pretty soon, it mushrooms out. Every private investigator knows this. Every private investigator knows this. You start and it branches out. It don't just start in and then come in like this. It don't do that unless you're working the puzzle. And then the outside pieces you have to have. But that's your perimeter. You have to have that perimeter and knowing where your bases is. which is usually when human trafficking comes around. And you can ask any TBI person or VCAC, it's usually within the 60-mile radius. They do the 72 1 hour, 1 mile deal. That's why they do the 62 to 72 or 60 to 72 miles outside of what's going on. Knoxville is a portal. Knoxville, Tennessee in general is a portal. There's North Carolina. There's ways you go here, there. The interstates run through. There's also the roads, the highways that are different from Tennessee than any other state. There's roads that are not even on the maps. They're not even on GPS. Not even on GPS. The back roads in Tennessee that goes from Rogersville, there's in Rogersville, they're Knoxville, and guess what? They're also in Nashville. Those highways are not even on the map. And if you look for those cases,
that I-40 corridor is a huge trafficking. And Don's the one that brings up Knoxville. Look at the news in Little Rock. I-40 going right through Little Rock into Oklahoma City. What'd they find at a rest area? A bunch of kids. Now, my question is, why is no one reporting these kids missing? The parents are in on it, my friend.
Look at the situation. It's just like one of the TBI and one of the FBI guys was collaborating together on the Summer Wells case. In Rogersville, Tennessee, and Hawkins County, and all these areas, you have what's called poor communities. They're poor communities. So guess what? If somebody's going to offer them $2,000, $2,500 for their child for 2 or 3 days, guess what? They're going to do it. They're going to do it because they're also fixated on what they're going to be able to buy and what they're going to be able to get with that $2,500.
There you
That's
go.
drugs. There you go. So
well, you see, they are your world, not were your world. They are your world. Remember that. Always have that.
Right.
You gotta be positive.
Sorry, I
Be
might have
positive.
said it backwards, but
It's okay.
they are my world.
We
and I
understand.
pause that right there. Pause that right there.
You know,
Notice the wording. The wording is everything in that. She said they were past tense, my world. The fact of the matter is, are your world. If they're still in play, are is the word. And I made sure I corrected her on that, but that goes to show you where her heart really is. She's playing a character here. That's what a lot of people don't understand. Don Wells and Candace Wells played a character because before the internet knew who they were and what they were doing, their house was a sex house, okay? It was a sex house. That is a fact. That's why when they showed all these pictures and all these church groups and all these people come together to make their house look better than what it was. When she says they were my world, I knew exactly from that point on how to conduct the rest of the interview because she used the wording. But I made it to where the questioning would hook her. Everything I did was to hook her into saying what I wanted her to say anyways, to see where she was at, not for money or nothing like that, but where she was at in her heart with it. And chances are, when you find out where someone is, you're going to find out if they was in it for the money or if they was in it for reality. That's real life. Go ahead.
So,
without them, I can't go on living and breathing, period. End of discussion.
right. Let me ask you a question. If you could say one thing to your daughter, what would it be?
One thing to my daughter.
I mean, you could say a sentence. If you could say a sentence or a phrase to her or a paragraph, what would you say? Anything.
I'm praying and hoping that whoever has her and whoever has done something with her will please bring her back home to me because I miss her and I love her with all my heart.
Now let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
You said whoever has her, right?
Pause it right there.
I know that. I know you don't know.
You know what?
They can never use her name.
Notice what she was doing before I even asked that. Rewind that for about 15 seconds. I'm going to go through something with you.
Okay.
Whoever has her, right?
Yeah, because I don't know.
No. Rewind it faster. About 20 seconds past that. Before that.
I'm praying and hoping that whoever has her and
Watch her
whoever has done
eyes.
something
Right
with
there.
her
Pause.
will
Watch her
please bring
eyes.
her back home to me.
Pause it right there. You see how she keeps going like this right over her eyes? Going back like that, looking to the left. That's what's called recalling. That's what's called recalling. It's a fact. It's an interrogation method that's used when studying body language. When someone goes to the left and look, like if I ask you a question, like let me just show you how easy this is. Brooks, if I say, who's your first grade teacher? You'll be able to say right off the bat who your first grade teacher is, right?
Miss Marshall.
Right. And then if I said, Brooks, what's the second car you ever owned? What'd your eyes do?
Pontiac Sunbird.
But your eyes had to go. You had to look like this, right? Like something to the left, because you have to recall. Think about it. She's recalling. She has to bring in answers because she don't know what she's saying. And I'm doing it to a point where the speed of it. It's the speed. It's not just saying slow like this. I'm doing it at a consecutive speed. That way I can catch her and everything she says. Now watch what she does right here. Watch the next question I hit her with. I'm going on her responses. That's all I'm doing. Am I fishing? Yes. But I'm seeing where the placement I'm going to place the hook at, where the hook's going to come. The hook's not there yet. All I'm doing is filling her out. That's all I'm doing right here. Go ahead, continue.
Because I miss her and I love her with all my heart.
Now let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
You said whoever has her, right?
Yeah, because I don't know.
I know that. I know you don't know. Do you know if
You fucking make me
it's proven
cry.
fact? What's that? It's all right. It's okay.
You make me cry, dude.
It's okay, sweet. It's okay.
Question from chat. Brent wants to know where you were the day that Summer went missing.
We was doing our first predator hunt bust at the park in Newport. That's where I was at. We was doing a reality thing. We was busting Tim Jones. He had waited at 5.5 hours. We had Cock County Sheriff's Department, Michael Whitmer at that time, who was our lead into the Department of Homeland. We was working hand in hand with them during that time. So that's where I was at. And that's the way, and I kind of think, God puts people in positions in certain areas in the right way for things to happen. And that's why I always have went back to that. Like, is it meant for me to be a part of the summer? Even months after, when we asked, we volunteered our help, we did all this here, but was it meant for me to even be in this? And I kind of go into that. But if you look at what I'm doing with Candace right here, she does the same thing she does with Dr. Phil. When Dr. Phil ask her that same ask her a question similar to that, she automatically dismisses herself from the situation. Just the same way as Don Wells did. He has to have that space. Candace is using that space right now. She starts crying. She knows by doing that it's going to make me lighten up because we're on live, and she knows that. She knows the people. If I keep putting pressure right now on her, because it's getting hot, even though it ain't physically or mentally looking like that to you guys, but to the suspect, it is, because I'm hitting at her heartstrings is what I'm doing. Go ahead.
And by the way, during our show, when Jason Jensen came up, he was nice enough to spend some time with us. Boy Mama called TBI, and they 100% said Don and Candace are still under suspicion.
Candace, I know you got 14 years with the man. I know that. I know that. I know that. This is crushing you, Candace. It's crushing you.
Oh.
It's crushing you.
I mean, wouldn't it anybody that lost a child or a child that has passed anything like that? I mean, who the hell wouldn't it crush? Oh.
Let me ask you a question, Candace. You think is it crushing Don right now?
I don't know. He says it does, but I don't know.
How does he act? You see how it's doing you? You see how it's doing you in your heart right now? If you put a mirror onto him, is he showing the same results right now as you are? Is he having the same symptoms as you are?
I'm not there. I don't know. I don't see him.
But you talk to him on the phone, and I can hear it through your voice, just as plain as day. Do you hear it through his voice when he
I
talks to
talked
you?
to him on the phone. Okay, today I talked to him on the phone, and for the first time since he's been there, this is the first time I have heard him even be upset or hurt or anything like that. Today was the first time I've ever heard that in his voice.
Is he hurt because of Summer, or is he hurt because he's in jail? What do you think?
You know, I can't really tell, honestly. I mean,
Right. You know that night that I was talking to him? Do you know that night that I was talking to him on the phone when he hit you?
Yeah, I heard about it.
When he hit you, when he was hitting you, right?
Yeah, well, let's not go over that, please.
Let's not.
I'd rather not.
I understand.
Yeah, I just don't want to go back into there.
Maybe when I get out of my little situation, me and you can have a little talk, heart to heart.
Yeah.
You can buy me some spaghetti.
Yeah. Why don't I just make it? Why buy it?
Hell no, I ain't gonna shit. We're gonna meet out in a nice little public restaurant or something like that.
What, you
might be
afraid
ready.
I'm gonna kill you or something?
I don't know. Hey, I met a girl one time. She tried to eat me.
Oh my god. Look, I ain't killed nobody fixing my spaghetti.
But you're growing stronger, Candace. A lot stronger now.
I'm trying to.
Have you had anything to eat today?
I had
Do you
some
have any
cheese sticks
food?
this morning.
Do you have any food?
Man, I'm not worried about food. I don't worry about money. I don't care about all that bullshit. All I care is my daughter and my boys. That's the only thing I care about.
Let me ask you a question. One more thing. And I'm going to get off of it too because it hurts me too. It makes me spit up blood. But
Well, don't do that, dude.
no, I'm okay. I'm okay. Listen, that is a good movie. I want you to watch that if you get a chance. Okay.
All right, watch 411.
Yeah. What? Not no damn YouTuber. Watch the movie 411.
Yeah, I'm reading it across the thing. I ain't tell her to watch 411. I get it.
Okay.
I heard
It's a movie. It's a movie.
Yeah, the movie 411. Yeah, got it.
Right. So let's do this. Look at you. I got your undivided attention right now. It's like a little school person in class sitting there waiting, like, teacher, what am I learning now?
All ears.
Okay, you're all ears. You're all ears.
Exactly.
Okay,
What are
good
you gonna tell me now?
Okay, so check this out. Just one more question. I don't know how to say it. I don't want to offend you, and I don't want to do that because we're friends, and I don't want to do that.
Just fucking say it.
Okay, I'll say it.
Damn.
I heard, and I don't know if it's a fact or not, that Don, your husband, used to take showers with Summer. Is that true?
Okay, so this is the mic drop. That's when you see Candace, who knows what goes on in her own home. Now, mind you, she's trying to get Ernie up on the hill to eat her spaghetti. I'm not even going to go into that metaphor. And he goes, all right. She goes, just go ahead and say it. Now, you watch how she cocks her head back and goes, no.
Notice what I did first, though. I made her lead herself into that, put herself into that position. I said, I don't even want to ask you this. And she's like, no, you go ahead and hit me with it. You go ahead and give it to me. I knew then either she's going to answer or throw away. And then I knew then where it's going to shift from. Go ahead.
Okay.
No.
Did. Okay. He never took showers with her or nothing like that. And that's true. That's not true, right? Okay.
No.
Okay.
He never did.
Did he ever
I
burn?
took showers with Summer.
You took showers with Summer. Okay. Did you ever see him act any way like abusive towards Summer?
No, I can
Any kind of-
honestly say that Donnie loves Summer with all his heart. You know, boys are gonna be boys, so it's different when a little girl comes in the picture because that's a daddy's girl,
Okay.
right?
Hold on a
Okay,
second.
that's
Hold
the
on.
way it is.
Did you know that Don told Molly?
This is the mic drop right here.
Okay, now you're in the hot seat. Everyone else is in the hot seat. So when she said, well, boys are going to be boys, but it's different when a girl comes into the picture.
Yes.
How did you take that? Did your jaw drop when she said that?
Well, I knew then she was trying to relate. She was trying to get a relation going. Like she was trying to relate how boys are treated and how boys do, and putting a girl in the same situation. But the thing about it is, guys with guys is good. Girls with guys, well, kids, you see what I'm saying? You can relate, but you can't relate. And that's what she wanted to do. She wanted to put Summer in with the boys and say, oh, it's okay, it's good. But it's not. It's not. And this right here is the actual mic drop, because I already had it. And I was waiting for her response instead of just saying, oh, no, and beating her up, tearing her up about it. I wanted her full answer before I hit her with this. And that's why I was pausing. I was pausing myself, waiting on it. And then here it is. I let it go lightly, but he did take showers with Summer.
No, I did not know that.
There's a video recording of it, of him saying he did.
I didn't know that.
Hold on a second. Can someone, can anyone get a video recording of that? If that did happen, did take place? Like I said, I don't know much about the case. If that did take place, let me ask you a question, Candace. If that did take place and you see a video of him saying that, how are you going to feel?
I'm going to flip the fuck out, man. I'm going to flip the fuck out for real.
So if you hear a video of him saying, yeah, I took showers with Summer,
I'm going to fucking go off. Somebody better have bail money.
well, you can't get to him, obviously. Now, come on. You can't get to him. Now, let me ask you a question with this. If that is true, are you going to call him at jail on his little machine there? What would you say to him? What would you say to him?
No, I'm going to wait until he calls me tomorrow, and then I'm going to unleash something that has never been unleashed before.
Really?
Yeah, because that is unacceptable.
These people in the chat.
Don't play with me, dude. Do not play with me.
Listen.
Do not.
Listen, look at this. Melanie, read across the screen, Candace. I won't lie to you. Read it. There's a reason I asked that, because I know you didn't know about it. Read across the screen, Candace. Don did say that. I heard it too. He did say it a few times, yes. Don definitely said it. It did. I heard him saying it. He did. How did she miss that? You see, I know you missed that. That's why I asked the question, Candace. You see?
To me, her face is one of someone who's been called out and caught. She's caught. Not someone who didn't know.
And she's caught. She knows it right there. She knows all about what I'm getting ready to do, what I'm doing. And then she can't do nothing right now because she is caught. She's literally, there's no way out of that. That's what we talk about, Brooks. That's the Columbo effect right there.
Okay.
She's caught every which way she goes. There's no way out of that. Usually when people catch people, they can back out. She backs out now. It's 100%. They know it. So she's coming up. Right now, she's stuck. She's in la la land, and she's coming up with this way, that way, that way. But what I did is I surrounded her with the question and the scenario in itself. And there's no way out of that. No way.
No.
So.
And I know a lot of people keep saying, oh, but the wells have been cleared. No. The DA decided not to move forward with charges for child abuse because the children are out of their care.
And something else too, Brooks. Can we make something clear to these people that I'm here for Summer right now? I'm not getting paid. I'm not getting no money. I don't want no money from it. I had completely dismissed and dropped everything with this until recently, when I was questioned myself by law enforcement over this exact same thing multiple times and cleared. Even Brooks can verify that law enforcement themselves said that I was close. Correct, Brooks?
They certainly did. Now, I don't know who's questioning you or what gives them the right, but I can tell you right now, no, I don't know why anybody would even think that. Who's asking you that?
Oh my God. I've been questioned. You won't believe it. We'll talk after this show. It goes into so much. I've been brought in, and every time I've talked, even when I talked to the TBI, they said, when I told them everything, they said exactly this right here. What you just said, we think happened is exactly what they said, and you wouldn't have even brought me up or even talked to me then at that time if you didn't even know somebody from legit purposes had told you this, right? Correct?
No.
I mean, you wouldn't just fool with it.
No, no way I would mess with it. No, no way. I mean, no offense to you,
Right.
but I'm only going to talk to people who know what they're talking about. Well, on that note, I'm going to go back to this, and then we're going to start wrapping it up. I want to focus again on when Candace is confronted about the showering.
I'm gonna fucking go off. Ooh. Somebody better have bail money.
Well, you can't get to him, obviously, now. Come on. You can't get to him. Now, let me ask you a question with this. If that is true, are you going to call him at jail on his little machine there? What would you say to him? What would you say to him?
No, I'm gonna wait until he calls me tomorrow, and then I'm gonna unleash something that has never been unleashed before.
Really?
Yeah, because that is unacceptable.
These people in the chat.
I mean, don't play with me, dude. Do not play with me.
Listen.
Do not.
Listen, look at this. Melanie, read across the screen, Candace. I won't lie to you. Read it. There's a reason I asked that, because I know you didn't know about it. Read across the screen, Candace. Don did say that. I heard it too. He did say it a few times, yes. Don definitely said it. I did. It did. I heard him saying it. He did. How did you miss that? You see, I know you missed that. That's why I asked the question, Candace. You see, I'll let you talk now. But he did say it.
He admitted it. He said it. He laughed about it. He was on Molly Go Lightly. And I know some people don't like her. I don't understand why people get caught up in creators as opposed to the cases. That's just, some simple minds. We have some questions from the chat. ICU wants your opinion. What do you think happened to Summer?
I think Summer fell into a web, and that web is child trafficking. Whatever happened after that, because of what's going on and the people that I'm talking to now, I'm going to stay silent on that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we've talked about it. And it makes sense. And I think it makes even more sense that that they are having issues. And like Leslie from TBI, Leslie Earnhardt said, there's another piece of the puzzle that we need. Well, I tell you what, today, I think we've put a lot of pieces into the puzzle. And I want to say thank you so much to Ernie for your conversations with Candace, conversations with Don, and, keeping Summer's name out there.
Exactly. And that's the best thing we can do. No matter which creator it is, as long as their name's out there, it keeps the heart alive, and the fact that, it keeps this child's name being pushed out there. It never goes cold. It's always going to be there. It's always on everybody's mind, and just maybe, who knows? Maybe the best will happen, and the good Lord will shine through, and it will be justice for Summer. I appreciate you for letting me come up, Brooks. If anybody wants to check out my channel, Unlock Your Reality, I appreciate you all. And Brooks, I'm going to bow out with that. And if you have any more things come up, and if Mr. Jensen himself wants to talk, private investigator to private investigator, I would be more than welcome to have a conversation on your panel. Thank you. I appreciate it. Much respect. God bless you all. And as always, people, we the people will protect the children at all costs. Have fun, guys.
At all costs. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you after all these years, still being here for Summer Wells. Thank you, Ernie, for coming up and talking to us. He, like him or hate him, he has really stayed on these people. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you back here tomorrow. Mod Squad, I don't know how you do it, but you do fabulous. You guys are the absolute best. See you here tomorrow.